Hey, welcome to Game Layer.
Betty Dannewitz.
And podcasts are great for adding context in learning. So whether it's fictional or non-fictional, whatever, there's always more context that you can add to whatever it is you're teaching. Success stories, other connections to like your company's values or strategic imperatives, those types of things. So why not turn them into a story and make it a fictional podcast? Maybe it's not about somebody who's searching for their friend that disappeared.
A bit dark.
Could be.
Betty
dark.
Dannewitz.
Hey, welcome to Game Layer, where we explore the science of play and the quest of learning. I am your host, David Kolmer. Theme music by Caleb Willits. Welcome down to Game Layer.
I play piano.
I play chess.
I play everything.
I play games of my own invention.
I'd like to move to the domain of play.
You know, I'm going to get all philosophical and weird on you. Like, games are things that bring us together. By nature, most people are in some way competitive. And it's just built into our DNA, right? It's literally how we survived for, centuries, is you had to be competitive in one way or another in order to eat.
Our guest today needs no introduction in the world of learning and development podcasting. Betty Dannewitz has inspired probably countless people to get into podcasting. She travels the United States, going to learning conferences, giving talks and demonstrations on how to create a podcast on the cheap. Her newest thing is doing podcasting live at learning conferences, and she has expressed to me that is a difficult operation and does require additional work and additional logistics to make it happen. But she does it anyway. I met Betty Dannewitz when I went to my first international learning conference in 2023. And on that Friday, the last day of the week, I went to her session on how to create a podcast on the cheap. And it planted a seed. Number of years later, now it's 2025. I have my own podcast. And full circle, I asked her to be on my show. She said yes. Then we scheduled it several times. We canceled it several times, and today she's on the show. So, without further ado, the karaoke Rust Belt belter, the self-aware tamer of monsters, the queen of the cast, Betty Dannewitz. Betty Dannewitz! Well, hello there, Betty Dannewitz.
Well, hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
I'm fabulous.
Good. That's good to hear. So I wanted to ask you, what is your glorious purpose, Betty?
My glorious purpose. Now, why are you asking me about that, David Kolmer?
Right out of the gate, I want to highlight that you did a series on the Loki show that's on Disney Plus, I believe. And it's my favorite learning and development podcast. So I wanted to make sure that I highlighted that.
I love that. My glorious purpose is to help people become better humans. Like that's my life job, my job in life. And if anything I do doesn't come back to that, I don't want to do it.
That's fantastic. I was walking on a really hot day to the YMCA one day, listening to your podcast through my iPhone. And that episode came up while I was walking through like the 95-degree heat in the St. Louis humidity that you're now familiar with.
It was terrible.
And it was just really impactful. It was just like, wow, she has that figured out. And what a wonderful reason to move on, right?
Yeah.
And so why does helping other people fill your cup? Or what else can you say about that?
So I went through this time in my life, career-wise, when I realized I had stayed about 5 years too long at a job. Let me just kind of paint the picture for you. I spent somewhere around 4.5 to 5 years running reports out of an LMS. I spent about 4.5 years running reports out of an LMS and formatting them in Excel. Like I was the queen of pivot tables. This was long before we had like software like what are the softwares that do that now? I don't even know because I have no shits to give about it anymore. What is it?
I mean, you're putting me on the spot. I'm trying to think of something very specific.
Something with a B.
Power BI.
There you go. Power BI.
We got there.
There's something with a T. Anyways.
There's a Frost. I think it's like Snowflake or Frost. Yeah, they do that stuff.
Whatever you say. But back then it was Betty. And so I spent a lot of time doing that. And so as you can imagine, knowing me as you do, as many people that are listening know me, it about killed me. So I went through this sort of time frame when I had been with this company for like 16 years, and I had to really think about what did I want to do if I was going to leave. And it took me a long time to get up the courage to update my resume and leave. And part of the whole process of figuring out what I wanted to do was figuring out what is it in life that gives me joy, that gives me energy, that I really want to see accomplished, that when I do that thing, I feel like I'm a better human. And that's sort of where I landed is I want to help people become better humans. And there's lots of different ways to do that. And a lot of what I do in my everyday job and even the stuff that I do on the side, they all lead back to that.
Yeah. And then it's not work, is it? Right? When you're doing something that feels fun or feels good, it's no longer a chore.
Most of the time.
Like I'm tying that back into the show a little bit, right? Because that's what this show is all about is how can you hit that game layer or that zone where it's not work anymore, where it's just a kind of play. Right?
The young ones call it getting locked in.
Ooh, locked in. I haven't heard that.
You've not heard that? This is new generation
like
slang.
Pop and lock? What?
No, that's
Right.
would be us, not
locked
them.
In. I know.
Locked in. So like instead of in the zone, like we used to say, we're in the zone, or I'm, they don't say that
anymore.
I've
heard locked in. I don't think, I didn't know what it meant, I think.
Now you know.
Yeah, now I know. So yeah, I don't really have a good segue, but I sent you a link to the Bartle player taxonomy, and I was curious which game player type you are.
Are you on the edge of your seat dying to know?
I am. I actually sent you a message yesterday guessing what they were.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And what did I say?
You said, really?
I said, sit down. You're going to have to wait. Yeah. So I did take the test almost immediately.
Okay.
I have to tell you, I don't think I have ever played a multiplayer. What are these called?
Multiplayer dungeon?
Nick, I've never played what are these games called?
Video game?
I have played a video game.
Yeah,
what are
it's
these called?
MUDs, right? Multi-user dungeons.
Anyways, I've never played a game like this. I've talked about it. I've asked to play Dungeons and Dragons, but people say, oh yeah, I'll invite you. And then they don't invite me. I think it's because I've never done it before. But anyways, so I took the test. I answered as best I could. Okay. And I am 87% socializer. Yeah. 87% socializer. It said I'm also, and this doesn't make sense because this don't add up to 100.
Good. That's fun. That's a really good test that I gave you then. I'm
also 53% explorer, 40% achiever, and 20% killer.
So you're like, so each one has its own bell curve, I think, is how they're doing it, right? Doesn't add up to 100, maybe. No. You're 100% explorer? Is that right? Did I hear
no,
right?
53%. 53%. Okay. So it says, let me read you what it says. It says, socializers.
Okay.
Socializers are interested in people and what they have to say. The game is merely a backdrop, a common ground where things happen to players. Interplayer relationships are important. Empathizing with people, sympathizing, joking, entertaining, listening, even merely observing people play can be rewarding. Seeing them grow as individuals, maturing over time. So I feel like this landed. I love this part. It says, killing, however, is something only ever to be executed if it's a futile, impulsive act of revenge perpetrated upon someone who has caused intolerable pain to a dear friend. That's right.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with me or my friends.
Right. Don't fuck with Betty or her friends. That's right.
I will pound you.
This is the first episode where we're using foul language, and I love
it. You can blurt out. You can
I'm not.
Buzz it out.
No, this is the
But that is very me. I'm very mama bear. Okay. I don't know if you've ever been around when someone has talked trash about somebody that I know or tried to be a dingleberry about it.
Right.
So I cleaned it up for you.
That was good.
Thanks. But I will. Like my eyebrows go up, and I can't get them down because I'm like.
There was a video that I saw. You were at the end of a conference, and someone commented on one of Matthew Pierce's YouTube videos. Like, why should I even listen to you? You don't even have 2 million views. And you got on, made a video, and you were on fire. You were like,
but I was nice.
Behold, the fox I doth not give. I am going to put this out there in the world.
Yes.
And you didn't look great. I'm going to be honest. You looked tired.
You
weren't like made up like you are today. You were like, look, look at that. You woke up. Maybe you had had a coffee. Maybe you hadn't. You couldn't tell, right? But
I was literally standing on the other side of the Dunkin' Donuts. You can see it like behind me. Right. And I was like, I can't take it anymore. And I just like literally pulled over with my little suitcase. I was like, and I pulled out my phone. And I was like, listen, And I was nice, but if that person had been there, see how my eyebrows, do you see it? They won't go down.
I see that. And if you're watching the video, her eyebrows, if you're not watching the video, her eyebrows are like really high.
They won't go down because I'm like,
right. Agitated. And that's the social thing, maybe, right? I mean, that's that vengeance to protect a social connection.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I like that a lot. And I think what's interesting about that is how that really shaped my day. When I saw that video, I went out and watched his video, and I mean, I nearly cried. I think he was crying when he posted, like, you know, someone said this about my content. And it really, what I liked about it the most is it brought up this discussion that was really fruitful to me around, why do we even do this?
Right.
Why are we creating stuff? Why am I posting on YouTube? Is it so people will watch it? Is it why? Right? And I think it goes back to your glorious purpose. It goes back to the only reason I should do this is because maybe it's going to help someone else.
That's right. Absolutely.
I mean, that's really the only golden reason to do it.
And when you show up with your sassy pants, I'm anonymous, and are like, blah, 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 I don't like you, you suck. Guess what? Nobody asked you, buddy.
Yeah,
hit the
shut
road.
Up, troll.
Shut up, troll.
Who invited you? Troll face? So
Matt is such a kind human. He is like so kind, and he gives so much of his time and his heart and his effort to help people. And I just, thanks for bringing that up, because now I'm like,
well, he's a brilliant person as well.
Agreed.
Not only is he nice and humble, but he also happens to be brilliant. So there's also that part.
Yeah. Matt Pierce, look him up.
Yeah, good guy. So speaking of that, what got you into podcasting? Like, how did this all happen? Because you got me into podcasting, so that's why I want to ask.
I did. Do I get to tell that story?
Sure. If you want to say that first.
About you?
You always ask me to tell that story. Why don't you tell that story? Okay.
Okay. So first I'm going to tell you what.
First
I'm going to tell you how I got in podcasting.
That sounds good.
So I love a good conversation. I don't think there's much better dopamine hit in the world than having a really good conversation. And it's not necessarily about like connection, romantic connection, like that. I'm not talking about any of that. First of all, who has time for, I don't have time for that. Anyways, moving on.
Time for romance?
No.
Right.
And so, okay. So, but I'm talking like you're talking to somebody and they're getting what you're saying, and they're talking to you and you're getting, and whether you're solving the world's problems or just talking about an experience, but like you're understanding each other and you're sharing information openly, freely, and it's making each of you better because of it. That is chef's kiss. Can't believe I just said that out loud, because that's another new gen saying. But
it doesn't even have to be a theosocratic discussion. It doesn't have to be a Socrates debate. It can just be like, oh, let's talk about chocolate.
Mean, I could tell you I've had some of the best conversations about like Marvel characters. I mean, you want to get me going? Let's talk about Katniss Everdeen. Okay?
There you go.
Talk about a fictional character that I could talk about for days. We won't do that.
She's
but
a badass.
anyways, she's
all day long.
Amazing. Yeah. But my point is, I love a good conversation. And so what I did was I suddenly found out, thanks to Brian Washburn, I'm dropping his name, that there was this whole industry of people out there that did what I did. Not that I didn't know, I just didn't realize that there was this whole gaggle of people out here that do the same type of work that I do, that I could start tapping into. And that's like sort of the moment I became aware that there was a learning and development industry. And so to start understanding more about it, I started sending out, messages. Hey, really enjoy your content. Would love to have a chat and hear more about your story. Very genuinely interested. And I'd start to have these conversations. And every time I would have a conversation with somebody, I would be like, man, I wish I could hit record, because somebody else would really love to hear this. And now I'm going to have to go and try to regurgitate the whole thing. But really, if they could just listen to it. And so somebody said to me one day too, hey, why don't you start a podcast? And I had not even shared this whole thing about conversations with that person. I was like, I don't know. So I started thinking about it and dinking around with it and making ideas. I know you know what that's about.
Yeah, I do.
So I did that for about 6 months. And that first person that had said that to me comes back and was like, hey, did you start your podcast yet? I was like, no, I'm getting there. And they're like, I don't know what you're waiting for.
With my blog.
I'm dinking around. Yeah.
Right.
Just hit record. And I was like, okay. So I reached out to Myra Roldan and I was like, hey, I'm going to start a podcast. I'm just going to get the first one out of the way. She's like, I want to be the first one. I'm like, okay, great.
Awesome.
So I wrote up the plan for the questions and I got her on the phone and we hit record, and I was hooked, because now I could share these amazing conversations that I had with people, with other folks. And I could actually talk about things that not only mattered to me, but also mattered to the industry. So that's kind of how it all started. My first podcast dropped in February of 2020.
2020.
Mhm. And about 6 weeks later, the whole world shut down.
Yeah.
Which gave me nothing
Good
but
timing.
time to work
Great
on my
time.
podcast. I had nothing to
Awesome.
do but work on my podcast. So
That's
yeah,
pretty recent. I would have thought it was sooner. And I Googled it right before we recorded, and it said, I did find 2020. And I was like, well, I'm not going to add that to the intro that you accidentally saw because you were in the waiting room and you saw me do the intro.
that was amazing.
That was weird.
You're
but
still
it's
working
what I
on
do.
shaking that off. You need to let it go.
No, I'm bringing it back up because it's really funny. I like
It's
it.
hysterical.
Awesome. Acknowledge it.
Much like most of our interactions, there's some level of hysteria involved. For example, let me tell you how I met David Kolmer.
Yes. Let's
So
talk about that.
What had happened was I was at DevLearn, and it was Friday morning, the last day of the conference, and I had a 10 a.m. session, which is the last one before the last keynote, which means ain't nobody coming. Or so I thought.
Right.
And so I stayed out way too late the night before. We'll just leave it at that. We don't got to tell that whole part of the story. Okay, let's mute your mic so that you can, yeah. Anyways, so I show up at the class and I'm setting up. I think I had some sort of like technical problem that,
Can I quote you? What's
Sure.
going to get us in the end is not AI, it's multi-factor authentication.
Oh
You
my
were
God,
kind
it's
of
going to
peeved.
kill us all.
You were peeved. Yeah.
I was mad. Okay. So anyways, I'm at the front of the room. I'm getting ready to get started. And I'm like, hey, since somebody was trying to fix my tech, I was like, hey, so anybody got any jokes? And this guy heckles from the back. He's like, I got a joke. I'm like, okay, what do you got? And he said some dad joke. I don't even remember what it was. I was like, that's amazing. Anybody got another one?
What do you call a cow right after she gives birth? Everyone's like, oh, this is going to be bad.
Okay, so first of all, that's not a joke that's appropriate for a room of professionals, which, by the way, the room was full. I forgot to say this. Like, I was expecting like 15
Standing
people.
room only.
There was like 150 people in this room. Anyways, what was it? Go ahead. What do you call it?
Decaffeinated.
Oh my God, it's just as lame today as it was
No,
then.
it's great because you think it's going to be really, really bad and sexist, and then it's just dumb.
And it's really just dumb. Anyways, so I'm like, okay, anybody got another one? And then you had another one, right? Didn't you have another one?
I do. Yeah, I keep all of my dad jokes in my database.
Oh my God. So at that point, I was like, you know what? You come up here. He was at
You
the
made me
back of the
sit in the
room.
front.
He was
Yeah,
literally
that's true.
standing at the back of the room. I'm like, come up here. There's a seat in the front. You're going to help me teach this class. So he came up front. Like if it was
I
me,
did. I
I'd have been
found a
like,
spot.
nah, I'm good. Came up, he sat down. And as we went through the session, every now and then I'd be like, isn't that right, David? What is your name? David? Like, I don't know if I didn't. I don't know why I couldn't remember your name. It's the same name my husband has. So I say David all day long.
There you go.
But
the
anyways,
creek.
so that
Yeah.
is how we met. And I'll let you tell how you got into podcasting, but we tell that later. We don't have to do that now.
Yeah, I think what happened was then I kept asking questions and you said, oh no, you're the co-facilitator with this. You're the co-host. And you said I could just talk over you. And I didn't really talk over you, I don't think, but
Mm-mm.
I did add to the conversation.
Yeah.
And my favorite part is then, just to be funny, I pretended I had to leave to go catch a flight, but I didn't. I just got up and left.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, got a flight, guys, gotta go. And I literally stood up and ran out just because I thought it would be hilarious.
And
So,
it is
I missed
because
the
I'm
last 10
cracking up
minutes.
now.
Good.
Yeah.
So, what are games? Like, to you, what are games, and why are we so fascinated with them, or why do we love them?
You know, games are, I'm going to get all philosophical and weird on you. Like, games are things that bring us together. I think by
Said the
nature,
socializer.
said the socializer. Yeah, by nature, most people are in some way competitive. And it's just built into our DNA, right? It's literally how we survived for, centuries, is you had to be competitive in one way or another in order to eat, in order to get the next job, whatever it is. So it's games allow us to come together, typically with people that we like, or at least know, and practice that competition thing in a place that is supposed to be safe. I say supposed to be because
Well
you've
said.
never played a game with my daughter Lucy, who is so okay.
I've met her.
You've met Lucy. But before I go to Lucy, let me just tell you that in my house, when it's time to play board games, Mom is not invited. I'm not allowed to play games because I win. Sorry. Like we
You're a
had this
winner.
game. I don't know if you remember this. It was like Disney Seen It. Do you remember Seen It? Because like it was like a board game, and
Look that
then
up.
you had to put a DVD in, and like if you got to a certain point, you had to watch a clip and say like what the name of the Disney movie was. So, and then there was like a Harry Potter version. Anyways, we got this game for Christmas. We bust it out. We set it all up. And basically, you take a turn and you keep going until you lose. Well, I took my turn and I just won the game because nobody else got to take a turn because I got all the questions
That's a
right.
flawed game. Yeah.
So mom's not
I don't
really
know about
allowed.
that. That's fair. Well, you're a
Yeah.
winner, so hey.
I'm
But
a
you're
wiener.
not like the achiever. What percentage achiever are you? Because I don't know if I picked up.
40%.
Okay. So it's not, you're not.
But
it's
my
not what
point
it's
is, when you play a game, the reason I was saying that is when you do play a game with Lucy, which usually I'm just watching it happen, she'll start to get into it. And you know she's into it when suddenly she's standing. She has no reason, but she's standing and she's getting louder and louder and louder. And then she starts trash talking. And I'm like,
she's going to be thrilled that you shared this on
it's
air.
amazing. It's
She's
amazing.
gonna love this. Yeah.
She'll be fine. It's not the worst thing I've shared on a podcast about her. So
Awesome. You know, I know that you really got into augmented reality at one point, and you probably still do a lot with augmented reality. And so I just feel compelled, since this is a podcast that is adjacent to gamification, how does that all relate to augmented reality? Or how can you tie that into learning and development?
So
Out of the
augmented reality, or AR, just in case people listening don't know,
Thank you.
it's the digital overlay of content on the real world. To make it,
Pokemon Go, right?
Pokemon Go is augmented reality. Snapchat filters are augmented reality. Right now, you can't see this if you're listening, but I keep like putting my thumb up and it keeps putting like an AR thumbs up.
I saw that. How did that
Yeah,
happen?
it's because I have an Apple. So Apple
It's
is
not working on
recognizing
mine.
gestures. You don't
Oh,
have an
yeah.
Apple. If I go like
iPhone.
this, like
Oh,
balloons,
yeah, it's
what
going
happens?
into a PC though. Okay, fair. Good for you.
Anyways,
That's awesome.
my point is, so AR and L&D, there's a couple of really amazing applications. One I still use to this day, even with clients at my day job, which is Blanchard. I work for Blanchard Leadership Development, is non-credentialed badging. So basically we create a face filter so that when you scan it with a QR code, you could take it and it says, I just completed this learning program. And then people can put that up on social media. They can put it on their internal social channels,
Nice.
like anything like that. So that's probably the fastest, easiest way to get AR in your L&D. But anytime you want to guide somebody in something or tell them a story that is happening in their own environment, so you want to overlay it in wherever they are. So think about a retail store. Let's say you work for a company like, I don't know, Journey, right? And you want to show, what's the appropriate way to wait on a customer in the store. You could set up an augmented reality experience so that as they're in their store, they can scan a QR code and then hold it up to the wall of shoes and a scenario plays out and they can interact with it right there in their environment as if they were in their environment. So tying it to learning and development is really, it's a way to take a technology that we already use every day, bring it into learning and make it actually more interesting, more engaging, and more relevant for the work that we do right where we do it. How about that?
That's fantastic. I like it. You tied it up very nicely.
Thank you.
Very well said. It's almost like you've talked about it before.
At least 150,000 times.
So recently you shared a podcast with me called Case 63.
You're
it's a
welcome.
fictional drama, and I listened to it twice back to back. She was maybe a month or two apart while I was redoing a bathroom. So it was neat because it's about time travel and all this stuff. And I was working on the same
Interdimensional.
bathroom later in interdimensional
time travel.
multiverse time travel. Right. So what are your thoughts and feelings about that fictional podcast? Because this is the first fictional podcast I ever listened to. And I think it's maybe one of the best. So that helped.
Yeah.
But,
So
right.
we have to call out that it has two very big names and real
Huge.
well-known voices in it. Oh, look, there's balloons.
Look at you. You're
Little
just
AR.
augmented all over. Wow.
Okay.
Check out the video.
Yeah, check out the video. Okay, so it has Oscar Isaac,
Yes.
who played Moon Knight on Disney Plus, among other things. He was also Poe in the Star Wars, the ones with Rey.
Okay.
Am I
I'm
right?
familiar with Moon Knight. I love
Was
Moon
he not
Knight.
Poe?
It was
Did I make that
weird.
up? If I made that up, send me a note, like in LinkedIn, and be like, Betty, you're confusing your people. I don't know.
I don't know if I even saw that. What is that? I thought I saw all the Star Wars. Maybe I did.
The ones with Rey. Rey, the girl Rey Skywalker.
I think I saw that.
Okay. Well,
You're going to give me a title. I remember
Just-
Ray, I think.
I don't know.
Okay.
I can't remember that.
That's not what we're talking about. It's okay. Either
Moving
way,
on.
he was in
Moving
it.
on. Someone somewhere is listening to this podcast and yelling at it. Like, what is
Yes.
wrong with you? How do you not know the
Maybe we can
name?
take that part out.
No,
Maybe not.
leave it, please. God, it's a real
Moon Knight
conversation.
was fantastic. Moon Knight was
I
probably
loved
one of the
Moon
best.
Knight.
I
Okay,
watched it
and
twice.
it also
So
has
good.
Julianne Moore, whose name I can never remember except
Me
for
either.
now. I'm very excited.
Right.
that-
Thank you.
So
Big
who,
Lebowski.
sure, she also played President Coin in the Hunger Games series. Yeah. Anyways, she's been in a lot of things. So anyways,
She's amazing.
A63, somebody recommended it to me. I
Okay.
jumped on it. I, just like you, gobbled it up faster than I probably should have.
In a weekend.
But here's what I love about fictional podcasts. And I was not a fan until K63. It reminds me, it's very nostalgic for me because I don't know about you. I know I'm a little older than you, but back in the day
We're
when
like
I was
the
in like,
same age, like a month apart.
I'm like 3 years older than you. That's like almost all of high school. Okay. So anyways, 7th grade-ish, I remember Miss Parenti, who's probably not listening, but you never know,
You never
was
know.
my English teacher and speech teacher. And I think was in speech class, like junior high speech, because we used to call it junior high. They call it middle school now. We used to call it junior
Sure.
high. Junior high speech.
We called
and
it
we
that because we're
learned-
the same age. It's okay.
We learned about, we were actually born in different decades, David. I was born in the 70s.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
you're older than me.
I saw the math. It was like that GIF where you could see the math, whatever. Moving on. What were we talking about? Miss Parenti in junior
You're talking
high,
about your teacher.
7th grade. She had us all sit down and do what was called a radio drama. So basically there were props and there was a script and we all sat at a big long table, like, shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow. And we had to read our parts and then do some sort of sound effect. And basically the idea was, it was like Little Orphan Annie from The Christmas Story. It was like they used to listen to a story on the radio. And that's what it reminds me of, is that whole radio drama that they used to do back in the day, where there's sound effects and there's noises and it sounds like people walking, right? And it was,
Yeah.
it ignites a different part of your imagination. And I love that. I don't know that I could create it. Maybe. Sounds hard, but fun. I love it. I love it. And there's another one that we're going to talk about in a minute.
Yeah. And we could talk about that in a minute, but I wanted to tag on to what you just said. When the movie The Shadow came out, I believe it was a Disney movie. It was in the early 90s. It was called The Shadow. Like, who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows. It was
Sounds
like
familiar.
Alec Baldwin. And then I got obsessed with that movie. I just couldn't wait for it to come out. Went and saw it in the theater and then realized there was a radio show for it. So I asked for that for Christmas, of course. Got like 10 tapes. And they were like literally from the 20s or 30s. So it was not only like a cool radio show with sound effects, like it still had the advertisements, like burn blue coal to keep your house right.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like such a time capsule.
Mhm.
I mean, love how they left commercials in it and everything. It was like a
Yeah, that's
legit
cool.
radio show.
I want to listen to that.
You should. It's a fantastic show because it's very metaphysical. He goes to the Far East. He learns how to like shift his face and then like transform and do all this telekinesis and such.
That's cool.
Wicked good show. Yeah.
Yeah.
So wanted to put that in there. But yeah, the other show we're going to talk about. Can we talk about Rabbits by Terry Miles? Maybe season 1-ish?
We could talk about rabbits.
Are you sure?
I mean, we can. I don't know that we should.
Yeah.
They might be listening.
Play the game, but don't tell. You know, in the show, I like how Terry Miles, who wrote it, created this thing called the Public Radio Alliance. So it's a company that I think he just made up. And he connects all of his different shows together. And I brought that up to you. You said, oh, that's such good storytelling. Why is that good storytelling?
Well, for one thing, it's like real life, right? Because everything is connected to something else. So nothing in the Public Radio Alliance lives on an island unto itself. Somehow Rabbits is connected to, what's the other one called?
Tanis.
Tanis? Yeah, Tanis, which I
The
think will be
last
connected.
movie, I think, is the other one.
The last movie.
The
Yeah.
third one.
So
Yeah.
they'll all be connected, which is a couple of things. One, it ensures that people will keep listening to all of them, just like spinoffs get most of the same people that love the original show.
Better Call Saul. Right.
Absolutely. And then also it will get people to listen a second time and a third time, because when they do go to that spinoff, suddenly they're going to realize something from the first one, and then they're going to go back and they're going to listen to it again because they want to make the
Exactly.
connections in their brain. And that's awesome.
There's science around when you watch a movie the second time, you actually enjoy it more because you love the anticipation of the thing that you know is coming, and
Yes.
you savor it even more the second time.
Do you know
think
why
it's the other way
people
around.
you know why people don't like sequels as much as the original?
That's a good question.
So
I'm
with
sure
the
you know the answer.
With the exception of Back to the Future, this is how I
Yeah.
feel about every movie that's ever had a sequel. Is the second, third, fourth is never as good as the first, because in the first one, you're character building. You're teaching people the backstory of the character, and that's where people create connections and can relate to the character's life based on their backstory. Now, some of the exceptions, like I said, Back to the Future, first of all, it was brilliant, but also like Harry Potter. Harry Potter is good because you continue to get new characters and they still build on the existing characters. So once you learn about Harry, you still learn more about him and you learn about like his background. If you noticed, you learn something about his background in every single movie or story. That's what keeps you going because you continue to learn about the character. If they had stopped building Harry's character after movie 3 and were working on other characters, people would have stopped reading. So it's that character building. That's that character building. And so that's what I really like bringing this back about this is because Tanis might build a whole new set of characters, but somewhere in there's a connection to rabbits. And once you hear it and you find it, there's probably multiple, but at least one.
There are.
Then you're going to be like, oh shit, I got to go back to rabbits and listen to this again so that you can make those connections in your brain.
Exactly right. And I kind of have a theory around the Public Radio Alliance as well, because he creates characters that he plays. So Terry Miles plays himself in some of the shows, but then he also plays Nick Silver in another show. And what's interesting is Nick Silver wrote a book called Rabbits, not to be confused with the podcast Rabbits. And he says, that's my cousin. Some of us say we sound the same, but neither of us hear it. He says that on every show.
Multiple times, usually at least twice.
You hear it like twice, 3 times every show, and it's not real. So what's interesting about Rabbits is, to me, the show notes, most of that's all made up. The stuff they put this together to make it sound like a real podcast. Like, I'm just going out and researching this stuff. A lot of that stuff's fabricated. And then in the actual show...
Though? Is it?
A lot of it is. Because
I texted you. And I was like...
made it up.
But I texted you and I was like...
It's not like NPR. It's not
I was like,
an
is this real?
entity.
Quit talking over me. What do you think? This is your podcast or something? No.
No, go ahead.
I texted you and I was like, is this real? Because it feels it kind of feels real.
That's the question.
Which just marks it as such amazing storytelling if you are questioning reality.
In the show, there's so many things in it that are real, but metaphysical. Like, they start talking about ley lines or these conspiracy theories, but then they also weave in like the history of the carrier pigeon for like no reason. So there's all these things that are put in there that seem kind of random.
Well, there's a reason.
But all of a sudden you can't really tell. Like you're trying to separate fact from fiction, and it becomes more and more difficult.
It does, and that's why I like it so much. Are you going to tell these poor people what Rabbits is even about? They think we'd like listen to a show about bunny rabbits. Like that's not it.
It's a really good show written by Terry Miles. Is that good, Betty? So let me read a description. When Carly Parker's friend Yumiko goes missing under very mysterious circumstances, Carly's search for her friend leads her head first into an ancient, mysterious game known only as The Game, and then players also call it Rabbits. So what is The Game, Betty? What is it?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out, right?
Yeah, that's the point of the show.
I mean, I listened to all of season 1. I had to take a break because I found myself listening and holding my breath as if it was a real thing, David. This is why I texted you. And I was like, is this real? Because it's freaking me out a little bit. But like, the idea is she's trying to find her friend who was apparently mixed up in some sort of, what is it, not extended reality, alternate reality game? What did they call it? Something reality game.
An alternate reality game. It's
like
a game
that.
That plays out in the real world. It's not like Dungeons and Dragons. It's not role-playing. It's alternate reality.
That's the word we couldn't think of at the beginning of this episode. It was a role-playing game. What is wrong with us? Anyways.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
So back to rabbits. So there's sort of this alternate reality. And there was a movie. I told you there's a movie out there with Jake Johnson about how he's like the target in this alternate reality game. Do you remember that?
Jake Johnson. Are you sure that was me?
I'm sure. Oh, okay, hold on. I'm going to Google it. Jake Johnson.
Okay, so we found it.
So Jake Johnson is in this movie called Self-Reliance. And basically, they give him this opportunity to participate in this alternate reality dark web game show where basically people are trying to kill him and he has like a certain amount of time and he has to survive it. Like, I think like he's not supposed to be alone. Like there's all these rules. This is what Rabbits reminded me of, is this whole alternate reality, dark web game that her friend got caught up in. And now the question is she caught up in the same game by trying to find her? So like, is trying to find her friend actually part of Rabbits? And so that's it kind of gets real meta real fast. And I love it because they have the sound effects. They have her meeting new people. The dialogue sounds real because they say shit like repetitively, not enough to drive you crazy, make you turn it off, but it just sounds like she literally hit record.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've heard that it's bad acting. It's like, it's not bad acting. It just sounds like they don't know what they're talking about because they're making a podcast in the moment. Yep. Right. It's like us. We couldn't remember the name of this movie that we love. That's real life, right? You know,
I can't remember shit anytime.
You know that movie, that favorite movie I have? What is it, Betty? Can you tell me the name of my favorite movie?
That movie with the guy with the face, when he did the thing.
He's got the
that
nose,
one time.
Right? The nose.
Yeah, the thing. Yeah.
You know the guy.
You know the guy.
So, and you just brought something up. It's like it reminded you of this other movie. And it's basically that movie rehashed, right?
Pretty close.
Why? Yeah, exactly. So he has these themes that go over and over, but we can't stop listening.
No,
Why
we
is
can't.
That? You started to contact me about that at one point near the beginning. Like
it's not like Rabbits is it's nothing new. It's not like it's a story we haven't heard before, but we're hearing it with different perspectives, different ideation behind it. At one point in Rabbits, they talk about the men in gray, and that brought very much a film noir thought to me. And that's part of the reason I love a podcast, is because for me, the men in gray might have been sort of film noir, but for you, it could have been something totally
Fringe.
different.
The TV show Fringe has the men in gray, and it's like the same exact trope.
Yeah. And so but we still love these stories. I mean, honestly, any story that has a hero, we've heard a million bazillion times since the beginning of time. The story, the hero's journey and it's never enough. We can never get enough of this story because it's deep in our DNA. We love it. We love it.
Yeah. You ever go to church? Like the ultimate hero story, right?
I have been to church, and
that's something we have in common.
It is. There are many stories and parables that we hear that are the hero's journey over and over again.
Right. Over and over and over. Okay, so let's take a shift. You said maybe you could make a fictional podcast, maybe you couldn't. But how do you think fictional podcasts could be used as a narrative to maybe gamify learning artifacts? Do you see that as a potential or possibility?
Absolutely. Right. I think if you're good at writing stories, like think about the last time you had to create an e-learning and you weaved into, I know, you shuddered. You weaved into it some sort of story or role play or something where there was a person and that person did a thing and there was a result and then you talked about it later, right? Something like that. Could we then take that, expand it out, create a story, ask your friend ChatGPT to help you write the story, and then turn that into a fictional narrative podcast that you then can have almost can fabricate your own like book club or podcast club that then the questions that you ask all lead into whatever the hell it is you're trying to teach. I mean, why not? I don't see why we couldn't.
Why not? And then it could be even optional, right? It doesn't have to be, you have to do this, but you could have the same material being reviewed in a different modality.
Absolutely.
So now we're hitting different centers of the brain, like you said, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're resonating with different parts of the brain.
And podcasts are great for adding context in learning. So whether it's fictional or non-fictional, whatever, there's always more context that you can add to whatever it is you're teaching. Success stories, other connections to like your company's values or strategic imperatives, those types of things. So why not turn them into a story and make it a fictional podcast? Maybe it's not about somebody who's searching for their friend that disappeared.
A bit dark.
Could be. It's a little dark. But, it could be something else. It could be a story
she watched a video that kept looping and changing itself, and then she wet herself, and then
that
she found
bothers
herself
you,
there
didn't it?
2 days later. Yeah, it was sort of like that movie, The Ring. It was just kind of like
which I've never
cursed
seen
by a video,
and will not ever see because that sounds.
I
terrible.
would recommend watching the American one because you won't be terrified for the rest of your life, like I was when I watched the Japanese one.
Yeah, I've heard that from more than one person.
Stuff. Yeah, I mean, I still loved it. It was just I couldn't sleep for 2 weeks. That's all.
Well, yeah,
Not a
nobody.
big
Who
deal.
needs to sleep? No biggie.
I had to move all the televisions in my house into like a closet in the corner and cover them with trash bags.
Oh my
It's
God.
normal stuff.
It's totally normal.
Tuesday. Yeah. All right. So you didn't watch. Are you a horror movie person or not really? You into horror? Not
Am I into horror?
horror movies.
I heard
like-
you ask me if I'm a horror movie person.
Well, I could have said that better. Like, so Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Can
Please
I say it
leave
like
that in. I beg you to leave that in.
It's in there. Yeah, I don't edit much.
I am not into horror. I do think slasher films are hysterical.
Okay.
I do think that the original Final Destination, when it first came out, was brilliant beyond all.
Okay.
But I don't typically like horror ends up being some sort of monster or demon or unseen thing that's ripping people in half or some little girl's turning into a vampire. And I don't get anything from that.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot
Okay.
of people, like that gives them that dopamine hit. All it does is make me want to go crawl in a corner and watch Friends on repeat until that's burned in my brain and not the horror thing. So
Yeah.
that was
We're
a really
similar.
long way of saying no. I'm not really into horror movies, but I can appreciate the genre. I just don't spend a lot of time in it.
Okay. Well, do you perceive me as a whore?
Do I think you're a whore?
I just had to put that in there. Sorry. While we're on the topic of who's a whore, all right.
My
this is
God, please, you've got to leave it in there. It's going to be amazing. This is going to be your number one listen to podcast because we're just sitting here calling each other whores.
We went
It's
there.
amazing.
We accidentally went there and stayed and we hung out.
I know.
So, other than a cat and dog, which I know is very difficult for you because you absolutely love dogs, you have several dogs.
I have 2 dogs.
Okay, well, that's
That's not several. Several is 4 or more.
okay. A few would be 3. So, yeah, a couple. You got a couple dags.
I have a couple. I have a couple dogs.
What's your favorite animal?
So I don't really like animals. I don't. Like, kids like to go to the zoo.
Yeah, I
hate
know
the
that.
zoo. It's
You don't like
gross.
the zoo.
Smells like
stinks.
poop. I don't like it.
It does smell like.
I think standing there staring at an animal that's in a cage is awful.
Okay, so
But
I
I
didn't
don't-
ask if you like
I
to go
don't-
to the zoo. Like, is there an animal you identify with?
I didn't ask you that, Betty.
I just walked right over you, right
Damn.
over your face. Damn. All right.
If I had to think of another animal that makes me smile, how about
Well,
that?
that's a
How
good
about if I
way of
answer
putting
that?
it. That's good.
I think that squirrels are plotting against us. They've been trying for years to figure out how they're going to take over the world. But I find them quite comical. I think that geese think that they rule the world,
Uh-huh.
especially Canadian geese. They think they're in charge. Yeah. And ducks, I think, are, the most passive, docile creatures out there. They don't care about you or what you're doing. They're just over here living their lives. There you go. How about that? Talked about 3
I like
animals.
that. You had 3 animals, and you started from I don't like animals to
I don't
here's
like
3
animals.
that yeah, but you
There's
you
3
did
that I
well.
tolerate.
Yeah, they can still be your favorite, even though you don't like them. What's your favorite form of food you don't like? Like you hate sushi, but what's your favorite kind of sushi? Like
I
the
love
one that you
sushi.
can
What are you talking about?
I'm just an example. It was an illustration. So I heard that you play games because you said that earlier. Is there a game that you would be able to play for the rest of your life and all other games disappear and there's just this one game left? Would you be able
yeah.
to pick that game? What's that?
Yep. You want to guess?
That game where you watch a Disney movie and you have to guess what it is and you just massacre
No.
everyone and you kill.
I won that the first time. There's no reason to play anymore.
So it's just gone. Okay, that's
Yeah.
out.
That's up.
I don't know. Have we talked about this ever? I don't think. Maybe Uno? I like Uno, so I don't know.
So there are 2, and it sort of depends on who else I'm playing with. So if it's a family game you're looking for, I could play Yahtzee till I die. I have 5 additional rules that you must follow when you play Yahtzee with me. Would you like to know what they are?
Yeah, that's helpful. That's good.
So firstly, number 1, you have to use the cup. None of this using your hand to throw the dice bullshit. Okay? I know what you're
Got
doing.
a thumbs up on that.
I did. So you have to use the cup. Number 2, we roll to see who goes first. What's so funny? We roll to see who goes first, David.
Is this what it's
okay?
like when you do karaoke with you? Is like there's these rules.
Yes,
right?
there are
It's like-
rules. Absolutely.
Right.
Rule number 3, don't touch my dice. So if I just rolled and I'm still adding them up, keep your mitts off my dice. And that
I
rule
feel like
wasn't.
these are just like standard rules of gameplay.
Well,
They shouldn't
When
be
you
that.
play with my husband, the other David, he likes to touch my dice. And I'm like, don't touch my dice. Okay, so we've got use the cup.
That sounds
You
like
have
a
to roll to
euphemism.
see who goes first.
We're already talking about.
Don't touch
Who's
my
the whore?
dice.
Okay.
Okay. when you get a Yahtzee, you have to put your arms in the air, your hands in the air, and yell Yahtzee. If you don't, you don't get those points.
Yahtzee.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's like Uno. You have to say Uno when there's one card left. That's the
So there's
rules
one more
of the
rule.
game. Sorry.
There's one more rule.
I'm sorry.
Play it as lies. So if you're all excited and you shake up that cup and you roll those dice and one of them goes off the table, whatever lands up, that's your number. There's no re-rolling this shit. Okay.
That's how you play the game. I don't understand.
But
you have a lot of caveats.
I have
you live with cheaters?
Yes, I do. Those are the 5 nuances that we must talk about. Those are my 5 rules for Yahtzee. Now,
okay.
If I am playing with adults only, I love Cards Against Humanity. I think it is one of the best games ever invented. I belly laugh until I think I might die. All the expansion packs are perfect.
Good game.
And I can win it. I can win it.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That wasn't as exciting as you were hoping it would be.
No, I'm just thinking because I like that game a lot. I should play it more. I have little kids, so they're around.
It's hard when you have kids.
I love them. I love my children, and it's hard to spend time away from them. I love them so much. But at the same time, I have played Card Against Humanity, and I loved it. It was fun. I love it. So maybe in a future state, like when I'm as old as you, right? Maybe I can play it.
That's fair.
Since you're so much older than me, like 24 months or whatever.
Like my kids are 17, and the other one's, Lucy's almost 23, and I'm not playing Cards Against Humanity with them ever.
Yeah.
Maybe when they're like bad. 35, it's way too dirty. Right. You can't play it with your kids.
Yeah.
That's like if I'm reading my Kindle at night.
Yeah.
Reading my Kindle at night and my kids come in, I got to put that shit down because I don't know what's coming up on the next page. I don't know if there's going to be some smut, and I ain't reading that when my kids sit next to me. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. I can relate to that. Yeah. Because it's all connected, right? Like you said. So you don't want to like telepathically send smut to their brain. That'd be weird.
I don't know. I'm sure I said that, but okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I went there. So there's different game mechanics in different games, right? So you said Yahtzee, you could play it for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
Why do you think that is? What are the mechanics happening behind the curtain in that game that really make you like it? It's
obnoxiously loud.
Okay.
The way you win is you're strategic, not lucky.
Uh-huh. You like that.
So
that's good. I like that.
I like that you have to be strategic about, like, especially once you start rolling, how are you going to score it, right? Like, are you going to take it as a 3 of a kind? Or are you going to take 3 in your 5 or 15 in your 5s, right? So I like that. And that's something where everyone can sort of level the playing field, right? So I don't have to feel like if I play against my husband that I can never win because he's better at this than me. Not necessarily. Like we can be equally good at being strategic. So I think everybody gets a chance to win no matter whenever you play the game. It's very portable. I have like a travel Yahtzee. So you could play it on the plane. You could play it in the car. Like it's very portable. And I have Yahtzee scorecards from decades ago, like of people who have died and but we played Yahtzee once and it's like a little keepsake and I obviously won the game, but nevertheless, like it's kind of nice, right? Like, so it's something
it's sentimental
that you play throughout, your whole, I've been playing Yahtzee since my grandmother taught me when I was like 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah. We had Yahtzee, I want to say in the early 90s, it was like a blue stick. And it had the die in them.
That was travel Yahtzee.
Yeah, and you'd shake it, and then you'd push it in the back, and it'd lock them in place. Mm-hmm. We had that.
Yeah.
I didn't like it as much. I felt like the real Yahtzee, like in the cup.
It's got to be noisy.
Shake the cup. Yeah, I like
it's got to like hurt your ears when you shake it, or you're not doing it right. I
want to get this out for my kids. I don't think we've played Yahtzee. You know what's great about having kids is you can relive all the games you played when you were a kid. That's the best thing.
We still have my sorry game, it is in terrible
shape.
Like
or aggravation. Have you played that? It's like the same game.
I'm talking like duct tape on top of duct tape around the box. Like it's the one that I played when I was like 8, 9 years old. We have we have my version of Clue from when I was like 8 or 9 years old. So yeah,
awesome. That's fantastic. So Betty Dannewitz, I was traveling through Thailand and I drank copious amounts of alcohol, and then I started taking notes on a note, like on my phone. And then actually today on LinkedIn, I heard you talking to someone else about writing notes and then forgetting about them. Do you remember this video that you had that played today on LinkedIn?
Do. Yeah.
And it was kind of neat because it just connected. And it was almost like a rabbits thing because it was like this thing that happened to me. I wrote this note long ago, forgot about it. And then this week I actually remembered it and I sent it to you. And it was a list of really, really crazy questions that probably were all mostly inappropriate.
Yeah.
Just because They were funny.
'Cause-
And
and
then
you
I
were-
sent them to you.
And you were soupy and sauced.
I was sauced.
Do you know there's a word for that? That
What
thing
is
that you're
that?
talking about? You know what I'm talking about? Like the thing where you think something happens and then later something happens and it all comes together at the same time. It's called synchronicity.
Yes,
Yeah. So you had a
Synchronicity.
synchronicity moment, a moment of synchronicity.
I did. And that's
Yeah.
kind of tying it back into rabbits.
Indeed.
But yeah, I just kind of wanted to bring that up because it does connect to rabbits and it does connect to something that happened today when both of us were involved in the metaverse. It wasn't like a real thing. It was all connected with notes on my phone and LinkedIn and the virtual space. And then you thought it was hilarious. You were cackling,
It was
because
I was belly
There was-
laughing
really,
at the questions that were there. Like some of them were like pretty basic, like how'd you get into podcasting, this, blah, blah, blah. And then there
stole
was
some of
something
them.
about what are your deepest, darkest secrets? I'm not telling you that, David.
So while we're on air, what are your deepest, darkest desires, Betty?
Oh, desires. That's right.
It was desires. Yeah.
No. But
But
it
I
did
was
remind me
literally-
of Inside Out 2 when they find her big secret, remember? And they're dying to know what the big secret is. And finally they're like, what is it? And they're like, it's like, I spilled the thing on the rug. Or something like that. And you're like, oh my God, seriously? That was your big secret? Your big, deep, dark secret? Yeah.
No, it was just a great moment. I was just like, I couldn't stop laughing. I was laying in a rice field in northern Thailand. I drank a little bit too much moonshine.
A little
And
bit?
I was just rolling in the mud, just like cackling. I was like, gotta get out my phone. I gotta type this on a note. And then I completely forgot it was there. And then
Yeah.
it's just like months
Good
and months
times.
later.
Good times.
Yeah, good times. So is there anything that I didn't ask you that you wish that I had?
I don't know. I don't think so. We talked about a lot of things and couldn't remember half of it. So that's cool.
Yeah. Is there
Yeah.
anything you wish I wouldn't have asked you?
No, I would have just not answered it,
Oh, which you did. Good.
which I did.
Good
No,
form.
I think here's something that I think people need to know.
Wrap it up.
I think people need to know that when you encounter another human that appears to be somehow on the same wavelength as you need to grab that human and tell them, guess what? We're friends now, because that is rare. So to find somebody heckling you in the back of the room that you're about to speak in, when you feel like death warmed over, which I did because I stayed out too late, that person tells a dad joke that makes your heart happy, grab that motherfucker and tell him that he's your friend, because that's what I did. And look where we are now.
And we're friends, and I appreciate
And
that.
we're friends. Absolutely.
And I had this strange hurdle where I can't start a podcast until I'm on Betty Dannewitz podcast, and then it's just like reached out to you while I was mowing the lawn. And I was like, you know what? You're a really good training facilitator. You're really facilitating this conversation, right? And you give me a little cat emoji, blushing, kind of like, oh, you see me, that kind of thing. And it was just, you don't remember that. I do. Anyway, it was kind of cool that I'm listening to a podcast and then I got to know the person. That's never happened. That never happens, right?
No.
So that was kind of neat.
Yeah.
So yeah. I second
Happy to
that.
be the person behind the podcast. Let me ask you this.
Right. Okay.
Am I different than the podcast?
No, you're not.
Maybe
That's
a little
kinda all I can
maybe a
hope
little
for, too.
dirtier off mic, but
Not much. Not after this
Nah.
episode.
yeah, that's fair.
So how can people connect with you if they do want to after hearing this?
Yeah, find me on LinkedIn. Actually, this is what I'll tell you. The easiest way is to just open a browser and type in "If You Ask Betty," all one word, and
Okay.
you will find me. So you'll find my go to LinkedIn and you go to the search bar and just type in "If You Ask Betty," all one word, you'll find me. So
Very good.
yeah, just type in "If You Ask Betty" and I'll be there.
That's really cool. You do have everything integrated into a single web page, and I'm really kind of jealous because I have a blog, which is Improvement Dave, and then I have an artist page, which is Kolmer, and then I have a podcast, which is Game. And maybe that's just me.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just a
Yep.
multi-layered guy. And that's
Nothing wrong
just
with
who I
that.
am.
Nothing
Awesome.
wrong with that. Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll run with that.
Cool.
Well, Betty Dannewitz, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. This has been fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm happy that we did it.
Same.
Awesome.
Okay.
I will
Peace
see
out.
you when you see me. Peace.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Game Layer. This is David Kolmer reminding you to stay present and never postpone joy. You can find transcripts of the show at gamelayer.fm. GAMELAYER.fm. Theme music by Caleb Willits. Thanks for listening. Now go play.
I play chess.
I play Scrabble.
I play fauteuil.
I play everything.
Hide and seek with my kids.
I play the piano.
I play board games.
I play guitar.
I smash it on the pitch.
I play chess.
I play Othello.
I play all the Marios.
I play Success Strategist.
I play Street Fighter.
Final Fantasy.
I play games of my own invention. Games of my own invention. Games of my own invention. Games of my own invention.
There are many ways to play. Going for a walk together, doing nothing together is also playing. Anything that can cultivate your feeling of joy, relaxation, where you feel more recharged after doing that thing, and I think you can consider as something that we play with. I'd like to move to the domain of play